Tracie Laymon, so excited you're talking to me about your movie. Bob Trevino Likes It. Um, I'm sure everyone has this question, but I want to hear it from you, like where this amazing story came from. I know it's true. Parts of it
Yeah,
are true.
it's inspired by a true story. My dad would get mad at me sometimes and disappear for periods of time. And one of these times is great for a developing young person, let me tell you, Chris. And so I was a people pleaser. I needed to fix it. We're very resourceful as people pleasers. So he wouldn't call me back, wouldn't email me back. So I thought, oh, maybe he's on Facebook. And I put his name into Facebook, accidentally friended another man with his name instead, and who did talk to me. That person would return my messages. And that stranger on the internet just proceeded to be kind to me. The real story before this movie was 9 years. And, all 9 years, my dad never said happy birthday, but every year I'd get a message from my dad's name says happy birthday from this new friend on Facebook, my Facebook dad. My dad never came to any of my screenings or anything like that. And I'd post something about one of my films and I'd get this notification from my dad's name, way to go, kiddo, and things like that. And so it just, he had no idea what I was going through or how he was helping me heal. He was just being kind for the sake of being kind. And so I knew that I had to make this movie because we're just in this age of everything being so negative and us thinking that we have no power. And it's like, look how much power. Look, you and I wouldn't be talking unless a stranger had been chosen to be kind to me on the internet. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, it's such a beautiful story. I've recommended this movie to so many people, and they always thank me after. It's just drama is amazing. The comedy too. I didn't even know that was French Stewart. He really but how did you pull together this incredible cast? And John Leguizamo, I mean, if there's not a campaign for him
Yeah.
for a nomination, I don't know, best supporting something.
Yeah.
I think this is a movie, and you're right. We need more positive stories. The journey that you go through. I mean, and the father-daughter stuff is so hits me because I'm a father to a daughter. So it really hits me. But how'd you pull this cast together?
I think the way I see people, I am often not putting them in the boxes that society is. I just think that I look at the world a little differently, and that can feel kind of alone when you think you're the only person that operates that way. But in this particular case, being a filmmaker, I think it's a little bit of a superpower because you get to see people's hearts. I saw Barbie Ferrera's incredible heart. I saw John Leguizamo's incredible heart. I saw French Stewart's nuance and how he had been kind of boxed in as a TV jail comedic actor when I
Mm.
saw him on stage and he came to writing group. His wife is in my writing group, and I was reading some of these pages, in the group and having them read, and she said French is here tonight if anybody has anything for him to read. And I even remember thinking, that's great, but what do I have for French Stewart? I
Uh-huh.
didn't even immediately think of it. So he read a rough draft, a cold read of a rough draft, and blew us away. So I knew that was it for me. I said, French, give me some time. I'm coming back to you, and with Barbie, I knew that I wanted people to see who she is. I wanted people to see her incredible range. You don't often get someone who's funny and vulnerable and witty and all these incredible things in one artist. And what made me, fall in love with John for Bob Trevino is I actually saw an interview of him talking about Latin history for dummies and how it's one of his shows, and his son had been bullied, and he wanted to arm his son with the facts, and he was talking about his son, and he got choked up and in the interview, and he said, just give me a minute, and he recovered and he moved on. But that beat, that minute where he got choked up and that long beat where he recovered, I was like, that's a dad, you know and that is who I want people to see, and John has said things in interviews like, whatever he's becoming, sometimes whether it's he's becoming some eccentric character or some, crazy character or whatever. it's usually something else, but in this movie he was becoming himself. And that means so much to me because that's how I see him. I see him as this super interesting good guy and wonderful heart of wonderful human. And so I would love to champion that campaign. All of them, all I think they all deserve it.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, I see a lot of movies, everything that comes to the theaters. I didn't know about this movie, and then I saw on Instagram, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna buy a ticket and go in. Went like a 2 o'clock showing, and there's smatterings of people everywhere, and no one left when the movie ended. The
Yeah.
credits were rolling, and the lights come up at AMC. I don't know, that's a weird thing, but nobody got up, and I thought, well, I'm collecting myself, right?
Yeah.
Everyone else was. It really was that affecting. And Barbie, I'll tell you one of the scenes that really got to me, and oddly, I'm not a dog person. That scene with the puppy, wow. I mean, because of what it meant, what Bob's character, John Leguizamo, like what he did, and that just all that moment. I don't know if I remember the dialogue. It was just that was like that was fantastic.
A lot of it is MOS, in that scene because it's so emotional, and I mean there are some lines, but we did shoot a lot of MOS as well, but without dialogue. But it wasn't scripted for her to cry in that scene, and we shot that before the camping scene, and she was actually scripted to cry in the camping scene. But we shot that puppy scene, and I played demos for my composer to help people get in the zone. I had my cinematographer. I said, "You're an actor in this scene. You were inviting people into it was handheld, and so he had the music in his ear, and I said, invite people in. Just be there. Just invite us in, and you're not looking at them. You're with them." And so it was a combination of all these incredible artists and collaborators in that scene and setting the table for her. And she showed up and she gave everything, and her performance in there is just it's out of this world. And I remember one of our executive producers' wives, no, he only has one wife. One of our executive producers' wives
Yeah.
was at the monitor, and she's crying at the monitor, and she says out loud, almost in a way where she's not even aware she's saying it. She says, "That's the pain coming out," you know? And that's what Barbie did in that scene. She just let that go, and it was so incredible. And so I remember I shot her a note that night. I said, "It's just incredible to work today, and I think tomorrow you don't have to go all the way, in because now it's building to this, you know."
Yeah.
So yeah, she's just
Ugh.
yeah, amazing.
Last question. I see a lot of movies. I see all the Oscar movies. Oddly, I don't know many people that do that anymore, but I see a lot of them, and they're very depressing. I mean, very the subject matter, the topics that are tackled. This is such a pure like emotion and like the kind of movies that I think the Oscars used to champion. Will
Yeah.
you please do something to get this recognition in the fall? I know it did theatrical already, coming to VOD and DVD and all that. I love that.
Yeah.
But please don't forget this. Please get behind this and for this movie, whether it's screenplay or actor, like just uh, this is just I'm asking you. I don't know. This is not much of a good question, but I hope you will do because it's such a beautiful film. Everyone I know who sees it, they just are wrecked, and it's like you said, positive and hopeful, and throughout all of there's some dark stuff in this
Yeah.
movie, and really good black humor. The list that Bob Trevino meets her with that tore me up. I mean, so I don't know what you have to say to that, but I just want to keep gushing about the film. It's
Oh,
that
thanks.
good.
Thank you so much. I think, I didn't want to shy away from the darkness. I didn't want this to be a toxically positive movie, but I think we are the light in the darkness. That's, as humans and showing up for each other. And, we can be told that we don't have that power. We can told that it doesn't that those things don't matter, but they do. They really do, and they have a butterfly effect, So I really, really want this to get nominated for things. Obviously, I want more because that means more people will see it, and I think more people need this healing, and they need movies with this kind of hope, like real hope,
Yeah.
not naive hope, but real hope. And so whatever I can do to support that, I'm in. And anybody listening, please reach out. Please help us. We need to, we're an underdog here. We need all the support we can get.
Well, congratulations. Don't forget Bob Trevino Likes It come award season. This is to everybody, and do yourself a favor and see it. Thank you, Tracie, so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Movies, movies, movies.